Hello, and welcome to the John Ark Show. Today's episode is called You've Been Lied to About Money. Before we begin, I want to encourage you to subscribe, like, comment, and follow us. We're going to have a lot of great celebrity interviews coming up, so I encourage you to click on the notification bell so you can be notified every time we upload a new episode. I'd also like to tell you about a service called HollywoodIsCalling.com. It's a great service that allows you to purchase live phone calls from your favorite celebrities, so check it out. It's something you can buy as a gift for yourself or somebody you care about. A live 15-second call is $19.95 and a live 30-second call is $29.95. Give it a try. HollywoodIsCalling.com. Now, let's get started. Most people have been lied to about money. All their lives, they've been told to get a good job so they can make as much money as possible, so they can then save as much money as they can. They've been told to save money so they can afford to buy a home, a nice car, all these things designed to improve the quality of your lives. The problem is that money in the bank loses value every day. Assets keep going up in value while money loses buying power every day it sits in your bank account. The more money you have in the bank account, the more that money loses value because of inflation, price increases, and other economic forces, all working against the value of your savings. Ask yourself, what do the rich do with their money? Well, I can tell you that most of the rich don't own anything that you like to own. They lease homes, they don't buy them. They lease cars, they don't own them. The rich also view cash as trash. In fact, one of their favorite expressions is cash is trash. They see it as garbage. The reason for that is that cash, like garbage, is constantly losing value, and inflation is what causes it to lose that value. So, what they do is they take their cash and they use it to buy things that will either grow in value or generate positive cash flow for them. That's why they love buying apartment complexes instead of homes to live in, because they'll generate cash. That's why they love buying Rembrandts rather than new Bentleys. The Bentley they might lease, but the Rembrandt they will buy because it will double in value in just a few years. It's also the reason the rich are so desperate to replace human workers with robotic workers. They see humans as long-term liabilities and things that lose value over time as they grow older. They see robots as assets that help them make money over time and that they can also sell. Most average people make a living by trading their time and their work for money. Most wealthy people make money by monetizing their assets. Their cash flow generating assets or their possessions that'll increase in value make money for them. They also put a lot of time and energy into searching for new money generating assets to acquire or to make more money with. And that's what I'm starting to see more and more middle class people attempting to do lately. One of the things that people with average incomes are doing is that they are starting to invest in sports cards because they see the value and the prices of some of these cards going up dramatically, much more so than the stock market, much more so than the real estate market. In 2018, a sports card collector paid $400,000 for a Mike Trout card. 2 years later, he sold that card for a record-breaking $4 million. That is 1,000% or a tenfold return on his investment. Now, very few people can afford to purchase a $400,000 baseball card, but what a lot of people can do is they can start purchasing sports cards in the $100 to $1,000 range and hopefully ride those cards as they increase in value over the next few years. And if you purchase enough of them, hopefully one of them will turn out to be a star that gives you a tremendous return on your investment. After all, you only need to hit the lottery once to change your life. The next thing you've been lied to about when it comes to cash is the mistaken belief that you will only pay taxes on your cash once. That's not necessarily going to be the case going forward, as a lot of politicians are considering imposing a wealth tax. The problem is that there are so many cities and state governments out there that are essentially bankrupt, that they're trying to come up with new laws and regulations that will allow them to pose a wealth tax on people and on assets. Not an income tax, which already exists, but a wealth tax that allows them to keep taxing your bank accounts or your property or your homes or your company or other assets that you may possess. The problem with that is that once you open those floodgates and allow that to continue and increase each year, then theoretically speaking, you could eventually erode most people's assets down to zero over time. That means that if you have a bank account with $1 million in it, and your city or your state politicians decide to hit it with a 5% wealth tax each year, then they could theoretically empty your bank account in 20 years. Now, there are some constitutional lawyers, in fact, quite a few of them out there, that claim this would be completely unconstitutional. But anyone who has seen how strange some court rulings have been recently knows that you can no longer count on any of our courts to rule on things like this in a legal or rational or realistic manner. When it comes to the courts, legal and rational seem to have gone out the window quite a while ago. Another really big problem with cash in general is that some cryptocurrencies are appreciating in value so much lately that no normal, sane, or rational people uh, believe they should stay out of it. They think they should dive into cryptocurrencies and start making some serious money because that's what they see other people doing. I want you to remember something else, too. Every time Congress passes a new bill that gives away $1 to $2 trillion, that what's really happening is that they are devaluing the money in your savings account. The more money they pump into the economy, the less the remaining money is worth out there. Why is that? Well, let me tell you. If you bought the only piano in the world that was owned and played by Beethoven himself, then it would be worth a fortune. But let's say the week after you paid $1 million for that Beethoven piano, uh, people discovered that Beethoven collected a lot of pianos, and that in some warehouse somewhere, they discovered 100 more pianos that were confirmed to have been owned and played by Beethoven. So instead of owning the only Beethoven piano in the world, now you find out that there are 100 other pianos just like yours out there. What do you think that would do to the value of your piano? Well, in most cases, it will lose 99% of its value because now there are so many of them. The same thing happens to cash. The more of it that gets pumped into the economy, the less it's worth, the less it can buy. Let's say the government suddenly decided that they were going to make everyone rich by giving them $1 million. Well, if you pumped that much free money into the economy and tried to make everyone a millionaire, then that would cause so much inflation that you'd be lucky if your $1 million would buy a loaf of bread by the time everything was said and done. So, the moral of this story is that the rich are trying to unload as much of their cash as they can and buy as many tangible assets as they can so that those assets can increase in value while their cash continues to lose value because of all the money that's being printed and given away. With that, I want to thank our viewers for watching and tell you that we're going to have more great celebrity interviews and more breaking news stories coming up in the near future. So we want you to click on that notification bell, and you'll be notified every time we upload a new story. Thank you for watching.